الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We'll continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's On Disciplining the Soul, Kitab Riyadat al-Nafs, translated by T.J. Winter, Abdul Hakim Murad. And again, we are still reading the introduction, an excellent introduction. I'm enjoying it. Really, it's not only about the information it's an excellent analysis, excellent introduction, background on Sufism. And in the last session, one of the things that were mentioned, this is on page 29, that most of the early ascetics stressed four practices: solitude, which is uzla, the silence, hunger, and sleeplessness. And amongst the very last things that we have read is that the Sufis, like Islamic spirituality, you talk about almost like the concept of retreat, the uzla. But in general, the Sufis did not shy away from confronting the trials of everyday life. And I spoke about the role of the Sufis in North Africa, for example. It's not restricted to North Africa. Same it was in Sudan, and elsewhere, that the Sufi orders were participants. They were, in fact, in the fight against the colonial, Western colonial powers. The second, and this is where we are starting our session today, on page 30. The second fundamental practice is silence, samt. It was similarly emphasized. The tongue, while small in weight, is a dangerous thing. صغير جرمه عظيم جرمه. Simply by pronouncing the germ and germ is simply the size, if you will. This is why we say al-ajram al-samawiyya, heavenly bodies, whether it's the sun or the moon or the earth or ajram samawiyya. Jurmuh is from jurm is crime. So the sun is capable of the tongue, is capable of creating much harm, grave sins, if you will. While small in weight is a dangerous thing, for had not the Prophet ﷺ said, "Whoso is silent is saved." For many of the mortal vices, such as backbiting, slander, flattery, lying, cursing, are occasioned by ill-considered speech. Imam Al-Ghazali mentions 20 banes of the tongue, ills of the tongue, deficiencies. Hence, Sufyan al-Thawri could declare, long silence is the key to worship. They do say, من كثر كلامه كثر سقطه. It is proverbial. He who talks too much makes many mistakes. So long silence is the key to worship. If one keeps engaging in simply in chatting nonsense, then of course there is no time for anything useful, the best of which ultimately is worship. Another remarked, a wise man's tongue is located beneath his heart. If he wishes to speak, his words will refer to his heart, and if they serve it, he will speak. otherwise he will hold his peace. The heart of an ignorant man, however, is on the tip of his tongue. His words never refer to his heart, and whatever his tongue desires to utter, he will say. Of course, this positioning is more allegorical. It's not really about the physiology where the tongue, we know where the tongue is, but whether it is tied to the heart or not. And as Imam Ghazali mentions elsewhere, of course, this is the introduction of the translator of Imam Hakim Murad. Imam Ghazali mentions that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq رضي الله عنه أبو بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه used to put a pebble in his mouth to prevent himself from speaking. At least one should take time before responding, reacting, before causing much damage. So a wise man's tongue is located beneath his heart. If he wishes to speak, his words will refer to his heart, and if they serve it, he will speak. Otherwise, he will hold his peace. The heart of an ignorant man, however, is on the tip of his tongue. His words never refer to his heart, and whatever his tongue desires to utter, he will say. He will simply uh, say whatever he wishes. There are no boundaries, no red lines, no. But just as the nafs may assert itself by means of speech, it may also be gratified by silence. And this too is to be guarded against, for silence can be nothing more than a ploy to convince others of one's own gravamen and piety. Likewise, to remain silent in the presence of falsehood is to be nothing more than a dumb devil. So the invitation to be silent is not an invitation to shy away from speaking the truth. And in the age of widespread injustices and fake news, subhanallah, there's so much fake news. Fake news that target Muslims, systematically spreading Islamophobia, or sometimes it looks very benign, like this young man who traveled to different Arab Muslim countries, as if he were reviewing the airlines. He just did it on his own, and he was giving these airlines a low passing grade, if you will. Well, your country has tens of airlines. Some of them are famous and big, some of them are not. Just do the review there, and you will see no one needs really your input. It's not really. It's not. I'm not here. Saying. I'm not saying that these are Muslim countries. They do not make. I mean, the idea is about service. Can they just do a little bit better in terms of service? 100%, 100%. But I know I've traveled wide enough in the West, yeah, in North America, Canada, and the United States, in so many European countries, in Africa and Southeast Asia. There are no perfect airlines. In fact, some Arab countries have some of the best, and Muslims they rank very high in terms of services. I'm mentioning this. The idea is what what is said here in the introduction is that uh, or remain silent in the presence of falsehood is to be nothing more than a dumb devil. The key is to be sought in the heart, as Bishop Hafi taught. When it would please you to speak, be silent, and it would please you to be silent, speak. The second, when it pleases you, the first part, to speak, be silent. This is the speak that we might refer to as glorifying oneself. It is. It lacks sincerity. It has. You are not contributing anything. It might be directly engaging in haram, such as backbiting. And the second part, when you feel like being silent or keeping silent, do speak. This is when you, for example, feel like comfortable, safe not to speak in public. No, do speak. Your voice counts. The religious benefits of hunger, or at least now we are moving to the third part. So, uzla or isolation, the first one. Second one is silence. Third one is hunger. The religious benefits of hunger, or at least of the renunciation of food, were recognized from the earliest days of Islam. For fasting, Sawm, Siyam, was a cardinal duty of the new faith. The fast of the month of Ramadan, which requires that one refrain from food, drink, and sexual relations from first light until sundown, is not only an act of worship which brings reward from God, but it is a recognized means of self purification. Let's simply highlight a simple fact. When it says food, it means food that is halal. When it says drink, of course, the same, because the word drink might have different connotations, different cultures. And sexual relations, this is between spouses. I'm stressing spouses, male and female, real male and real female, natural. So these sexual relations again between male and female during halal time. You might say, is there time that is not halal? Well, this is one example. During the day of Ramadan, for the pilgrim in Mecca during Hajj. So one needs to learn this. So male, female, halal time, and halal intercourse. Only the natural. One might, whatever one mentions, those who are looking for ways that are un-Islamic and unhealthy. So again, halal time and halal intercourse, which means also not during menstruation, and of course only intercourse in the vagina. That's sorry to be blunt about it, but in the face of all this, sexual behavior around the world, one should also be clear about what's okay and what's not. Patience or patient endurance, sabr, is half of faith, and fasting is half of patient endurance. Imam Al-Ghazali mentions this at the beginning of the book on the mysteries of fasting. And let me say that Imam Al-Ghazali says that there are three levels of fasting. Sawm in Arabic is abstinence. So three levels of abstinence. That which is mentioned here, no food, drink, and sexual relations between spouses, married, a male and a female, between dawn and sunset. That's one level. Second level is the abstinence of one's external organs, limbs. So the tongue should fast, abstain from, and this is during Ramadan and throughout one's life. No false witnessing, no backbiting, no insulting. As examples, the eyes should abstain from that which is haram, etc. The hands should not reach to that which is haram. The feet should not walk in the direction of that haram, that was haram. Ultimately, Imam Al-Ghazali says that the heart should abstain from anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the صوم الخصوص الخصوص. Second one, صوم الخصوص. First one, صوم العموم. We still have more about fasting, including the fasting of Sayyidina Dawood, the Prophet David, alayhi salam. So, eating and fasting on alternative days In addition to this obligatory annual fast, meaning Ramadan, other days may be observed as fast, Mondays and Thursdays, for instance, or the middle 3 days of each lunar month. We call them the uh, Ayyam al-Bid, literally it says the white days. Many early ascetics also observed the fast of David, eating and fasting on alternative days, but uninterrupted fasting, Sawm al-Dahr, was generally condemned. The Prophet ﷺ did not allow this. So it was generally condemned following the teaching of the Prophet ﷺ. During the 1st century, a semi-independent virtue was made of hunger, jua, which could be attained externally to the canonical form of fasting simply by reducing one's intake of food. Some accounts of the early ascetics' love of hunger have already been given above, and many more will be encountered in the translation which follows. But hunger and fasting are not ends in themselves, as acts of mortification with no higher efficacy. For as it was put, fasting is really abstinence. Some امتناع. I can simply explain this. When Maryam alayhi salam in the Quran, uh, she was told after giving birth to Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, that if she sees people, she should say to them, إني نذرت للرحمن صوما فلن أكلم اليوم إنسيا. This psalm in this particular verse, the exact word is used there, but it means simply abstinence from speech. So psalm is abstinence. So fasting is really abstinence, and this includes the whole method of Sufism. According to Tustari, when God created the world, He set sin and ignorance in satiety, and knowledge and wisdom in hunger. Mishal Havi said, hunger purifies the heart, kills caprice, hawa, and yields subtle knowledge. As the physical form diminishes and one's regular reliance on the world becomes more tenuous, then nafs is subdued. The unseen world becomes nearer of access. One's need to spend time in earning a living is reduced, and prayer itself becomes easier. Whether it was possible to live entirely without food was seriously debated in ascetic circles. Of course not. A man did not eat for, it has been narrated that a man who did not eat for 80 consecutive days and nights, Allahu Alam, if we do have cases of hunger strikes in Palestine, There was a famous case of an Irish man, Bobby Sands, who went on hunger strike for a very long period. I don't think he reached the 80 days mark. He passed away. We have we have people in Palestine who went beyond the 80, but usually they become extremely weak. They have to take water and salt when they go on hunger strike. Let me say that according to Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, rahmullah, if not eating, if, for example, if not eating lessens your ability to take action, to perform your duties, fulfill your obligations, then it is I forgot whether it was prohibited or detested, but one shouldn't, definitely shouldn't. More frequently, we find reference to fasts of 40 days, 40 being the conventional number of trial and repentance. Here, however, is a question of men who are nourished by divine grace, for such feats are declared impossible by the physicians. The foodless man, who, like the angels, is free of passion, is nourished from the same transcendent source. Let me say that in the story of the young men of Ashab al-Kahf, the story of the cave, for 309 years, they did not eat. They did not eat, so they were not dead, and they did not eat for all this period. How did they survive in that state of, long sleep, if you will? Inshallah, there's a clue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنُقَلِّبُهُم, that we turn them. There are two. And the miracle here is that they don't have energy on their own because of the different nature of the sleep that they went through, so they don't turn in their bed, as we say. So this would cause bed sores, as well, it is well known. So they have to turn around, but they did not have the energy to do that, so it was external. I'm using this to say that it was really a divine source that kept them alive. And when they woke up after these 309 years, they did not look weak, did not look very thin, did not look skinny, did not look because they simply thought that they slept part of a day or part of a day. So they woke up in the same fashion they went to sleep, not knowing that they stayed that long. So this is from a transcendent source. This may not be a permanent condition, however, as the conversion to God becomes more complete. Hunger as a technique diminishes in significance. Sahel Tustari himself, whose feats of abstinence have already been noted, was able in the end to eat without any particular limit or any fixed time, for his nafs had been definitely subdued. The last of the four famous techniques of vanquishing the nafs, sleepiness, sahr, is less frequently spoken of. Inshallah, we'll leave it to the next session. We'll cover this fourth technique, and then we'll move into ethics and self-transcendence, still in the introduction. Until then, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.